We're gonna wait for the regional jet over there to go by. I'm not used to being quite so far from the camera, but I wanted to use this setup right here to talk about the Canon R7. I've been using this now for about 2 months, and I have several thoughts on it. First off, is it a pro level camera? No, it's not. The R5 does things that this one just doesn't do. It's not designed to do that. This is an entry-level camera on steroids. I knew that, I know that. I don't judge everything that I see in here. The back screen, it's okay. It's not R5 quality. The EVF, it's not R5 quality, and I know that, and I don't care. It's about like the M50 is, and I love the M50. I think it's a phenomenal little camera. And as I've said in all my other videos, it's not about the gear, it's about the photographer behind the camera. That's where the magic comes from. What do you want that piece of kit, that tool, to do for you? For me, the reason I wanted this was for macro photography. For that, it is awesome. I like the M50 because that 24 megapixel sensor, I can get super close on things, a lot of resolution, EVF. Man, that one with the focus peaking, it is awesome. The weakest part on this is the focus peaking. It is not as good as the R5. It is not as good as the M50. It simply isn't. But I know that too, so I'm not too worried about it. And it's only 1,500 bucks. So if you are new to photography and you want to get into birding, that gives you that extra reach. It's a phenomenal camera for that. I wanted it for macro photography, as I said, and that's why I've got the Canon 100mm EF version on here, which I like better than the RF version. So over the course of these last couple of months, I've used this camera with my EF version 500 f4, I have used it with Canon's RF 100 to 500. That is a phenomenally sharp lens. If you can afford it, that would be the lens I would recommend. I have used it with the Sigma 100 to 600 contemporary lens EF adapted to this, and regardless of what people say, it worked just fine. I met a concert photographer yesterday out here who was shooting birds because his business had slowed down, and that's what he was using. And he does talk about it's not quite as sharp all the time, but I brought up my argument: if you shoot 60 shots, you're going to get at least one, and how many are you going to use? One. So that was a great lens. I have used Canon's RF 100 to 400. What I didn't like about that was it only went to an f8. So if you're at 400 millimeters, yes, you're at like 620, but you're only at f8. I prefer to go lower. He said he didn't mind that because that was okay. I've used it with the original EF 100 to 400 that's mine, adapted to the R7. I thought that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I have used it with Canon's EF 100mm macro lens, the RF 100mm macro lens, the Laowa 100mm macro lens, the Laowa, what is it? It's the RF version of their 25mm micro lens. That is a specialty lens. So that's 9 different lenses that I've used it with in the last 2 months. It's a phenomenal camera. I will tell you that when it shoots up into the high ISOs, 6,000, 8,000, I do not like those images. They look great coming out of camera, so I just use those JPEGs. I don't like using JPEGs. I like using my RAW files, editing them in Lightroom, pulling out noise, adding filters, adding sharpening here and there to bring out certain little features. That's what I like to do with my photos. When I look at a photo, when I look at anything off of YouTube, I like looking at it on our big 65-inch television. 4K, high definition. If it doesn't look good on that, then typically I don't put it out, because I'll pull that photo off and dump it. It doesn't look good to me. But that's the quality that I'm looking for when I shoot. And so at the lower ISO of 200, 400, even 800, man, these images are just fantastic. But past that, like the old DSLRs, I try not to let it get up there because I do not like that. But that's just me. This is the tool that I want for me. I'll use it for birding. I do plan on getting the RF 100 to 500. I think it is a phenomenal lens. It's super, super sharp. And since I took off the little micro lens and I'm now using a 100mm Canon EF on here, I miss that lens. But I'm thinking about the sharpest lenses that I've used. The Laowas, the Canon EF 100, my EF 70 to 200, and the RF 100 to 500 from Canon. Those are the sharpest ones I've used. Now, if you can afford a 500mm, even the older ones, they're super sharp, but they're inconvenient because they're so big and they're heavy and they're very limited. They don't have that zoom. I like a zoom. I like being able to get in, get out, and pull back. So it's just a tool. You have to make up your own mind as to what you want to do with that tool. A great photographer can take a photo, an amazing photo, with anything except a cell phone. Now, people do some really neat things with cell phones as well. But what are you shooting it for? To share with your friends, to share on Instagram, Facebook. What are you doing? Snapchat. I don't know what all these different programs are. But the main thing is you have to have fun, and it's just a tool. Is this the best camera? No, there is no best camera. What's the best lens? There is no best lens. It's what is going to work for you. What do you want to do with it? That is the best camera. The best one you have is what's in your hand. Thank you so much for letting me share with you guys. I really do appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic day out there, whatever it is you're going to do. Why do I say that? Well, because if you wake up in the morning, this is the way I started living many years ago. Wake up in the morning and I go, you know what? It's going to be a fantastic day, and I start working towards that. By the end of the day, it is a fantastic day. You've dealt with people where how you doing, man? That's the kind of day it is for them, because that's the mood they've put themselves into. So enough tree hugging. Have a fantastic day. Johnny Pink, as I said, please give it a thumbs up, or 2 thumbs up even. Unless you thought it was stupid, then you can give it a thumbs down. I appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic day out there, and we'll see you out on the road. Now I'm going to go back to my regularly scheduled programming of macro and birding. We'll see you guys.